The unexpected signal. Lieutenant Ariana Silverwyn stood before the glowing console, her golden eyes narrowed with intense focus as she studied the holographic display. The Astral Dawn, a formidable battle cruiser of her people, hummed beneath her feet, the vibrations reverberating through the cold steel of the ship's command deck. Ariana had been a seasoned officer in the Centurion fleet for years, yet today was different. The distress in the air was palpable, and the overwhelming weight of their current predicament pressed down on her like an unyielding force. The ship's engines struggled to maintain their speed, redlining at an unheard of 118% capacity, and yet the enemy pursued them relentlessly. Her silver-white hair framed her face, an elegant cascade that betrayed no signs of the tension that gripped her mind. Ariana's expression remained calm, though her thoughts raced. She adjusted the interface with deft fingers, bringing up new data on the screen, watching it flicker and change as it updated. But as always, there was only one piece of information that truly mattered now: the enemy. The Ravagers, a merciless, pirate-like species known throughout the galaxy for their brutal invasions and unpredictable tactics, were closing in fast. "Status report," barked High Commander Kel Thor, his voice resonating with authority as he sat in his command chair. His iridescent scales gleamed under the dim lighting of the bridge, but there was a deep unease in his eyes. The Centurions were known for their strength, but even they had their limits, and the Ravagers' relentless pursuit was beginning to show. Their heavy cruisers, closing from all sides, were well equipped to deal with the Astral Dawn's defenses. "Sir," Ariana replied crisply, "the engines are operating at full capacity, but we can't maintain this speed for much longer. Enemy vessels are within striking range, 12 heavy cruisers closing in fast." High Commander Kel Thor's four eyes narrowed, his body stiffening. A low growl emanated from him, the deep purple hue of his cranial ridges pulsing as a sign of frustration and stress. "Push the engines harder. We'll burn them out before they catch us." Ariana's fingers danced over her console as she obeyed the command, her mind processing the ship's systems, pushing them to their breaking point. It was a dangerous gamble, but if they didn't do everything they could to escape, the ship and everyone aboard it would fall into the hands of the Ravagers. The Ravagers were a nightmare on the battlefield. Their ships were faster, their crews brutal, and their efficiency in combat was unparalleled. They were no strangers to the art of war, and they were especially ruthless in their pursuit of valuable technology and captured prisoners. The Astral Dawn was powerful, yes, but against 12 enemy ships closing in with such speed, Ariana knew it was only a matter of time before they would be overwhelmed. "Commander," Ariana's voice was steady, despite the pressure mounting around her. "We're not going to outrun them. We need another plan. Any options for us?" The High Commander's voice took on a quiet growl. "We fight. We stand, and we fight until the engines give out. We'll take as many of them down as we can." Ariana clenched her jaw, resisting the urge to argue. The Centurions were brave, yes, but this wasn't about bravery. It was about survival. The Ravagers wouldn't just defeat them. They would obliterate the ship and everyone aboard it. Ariana knew that a decisive action was needed, but she didn't know what. It was at that moment that something caught her eye, an anomaly on the radar. It appeared as a fleeting red dot, a new contact appearing far too quickly on the system, a movement too fast to be naturally possible. Her fingers froze over the controls. "What is it?" High Commander Kel Thor asked, his voice tinged with suspicion as he noticed her sudden stillness. Ariana's gaze flicked over the sensors again. "I'm detecting an unknown vessel. It's on an intercept course with us." "An unknown vessel," Kel Thor repeated, his tone now laced with incredulity. "Are you certain? Could it be another Ravager ship?" Ariana quickly ran a diagnostic on the readings, unsure of what to make of the data. The ship's energy signature didn't match anything in their database, and the speed at which it was traveling was impossible. It was approaching at nearly twice their maximum velocity, outpacing the fastest ships in the galaxy. Her mind raced to process the impossibility of what she was seeing. "Commander," Ariana began, her voice laced with disbelief. "The readings can't be right. I'm detecting a ship moving at nearly twice our speed. Its energy signature doesn't match anything we've encountered before. It's not a Ravager design." High Commander Kelthor's crystalline exoskeleton clicked as he rose from his chair, his elongated skull pulsing with heightened alertness. His 4 eyes focused on the data in front of him, the reflection of the unknown ship flickering in his irises. This was unlike anything they had encountered before. "Impossible," he muttered, his voice steeped in both awe and concern. "There's no known vessel in this sector capable of that speed. Could it be some new Ravager technology we haven't encountered yet?" Ariana ran the spectral analysis again, but the results remained the same. She could feel a nervous tension building in her chest as the ship continued its rapid approach. "No, sir," she replied, her voice tinged with both amazement and fear. "It's not the Ravagers. The energy signature is completely different. It's something unknown." "Show me," Kelthor commanded. He approached Ariana's console, his multiple eyes focusing on the display. His mind raced through every known species in the galaxy, trying to make sense of this anomaly. What kind of ship could possibly outpace them? Was it a new faction? Or worse, something they had never seen before? Ariana expanded the holographic display, and the strange red dot grew larger on the tactical plot. The ship's shape began to resolve itself, a streamlined, sleek vessel that seemed to defy the laws of physics with its incredible speed. It looked advanced, far more so than anything the Centurions had ever encountered. Ariana's breath caught in her throat. This ship wasn't just fast, it was precision-engineered, with a design that seemed both alien and sophisticated. A strange sensation filled Ariana's chest, a mixture of disbelief and hope. The ship's energy signature pulsed on the screen, and for a brief moment, Ariana wondered if it could be what she had heard whispered in rumors: human technology. Impossible, she thought. Humans were nothing more than a myth, stories passed down from generation to generation. Tales of a race who had fought their way to the stars, then vanished without a trace. She had dismissed it as a childish fantasy, until now. A new kind of fear began to rise in her chest, but it was quickly replaced by curiosity. If this was a human ship, if they had somehow found a way to survive in the vastness of space, it could change everything. Humans were supposed to be extinct, lost to history. Yet here, in the midst of a desperate battle, they had appeared on her radar. Could it be true? Could humanity have survived after all? And if so, what kind of power did they now wield? "Commander," Ariana said, her voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and intrigue. I think we may have found them." High Commander Kelthor's eyes flickered with uncertainty, but he knew one thing for sure. Their situation had just become far more complicated. The possibility of human existence meant the galaxy was about to change in ways neither side could predict. The myth made real. The tension on the astral dawn was palpable, like a storm brewing on the horizon. Lieutenant Ariana Silverwind stood frozen, her golden eyes still locked on the holographic display, unable to tear herself away from the impossible data that had just appeared. The unknown vessel was on an intercept course, its trajectory too precise to be random, and its speed defied all logical explanation. Ariana's mind whirled as she struggled to comprehend the implications of what she was seeing. "Commander," she said, her voice steady but tinged with disbelief, "this ship is approaching us at a speed that surpasses anything we've ever encountered. Its energy signature doesn't match anything in our database. There's nothing like it in the galaxy." High Commander Kelthor's 4 eyes narrowed, his crystalline exoskeleton clicking softly as he stepped closer to Ariana's console. The veteran Centurion's mind raced through the data, the weight of the situation pressing heavily on his shoulders. The Ravagers were closing in on them. And now, a new, unknown entity had appeared on the radar, one that threatened to complicate an already dangerous escape. "What do we know about this ship?" Thor asked, his voice deep and resonant, full of the authority that came from years of military command. Its purpose, its origin, anything. Ariana worked quickly, expanding the readouts and cycling through different sensor scans, but every attempt to gather more information led to dead ends. The ship's signature was unlike anything she had ever seen. No known technology in their galaxy operated at such a high velocity, and no race was capable of creating a craft so streamlined and precise. It was as if this ship had been built with an entirely different set of rules in mind, and Ariana couldn't shake the nagging feeling that this was far more significant than just another Ravager trick. "I'm not sure, sir," Ariana replied, her voice tight with frustration. "The ship's systems are advanced, far beyond anything I've encountered. I've run multiple scans, but the data is inconsistent. It's almost as if the ship is not only faster than anything we know, but it's also invisible to conventional sensors in some ways." Thor's expression darkened, his mind already shifting from the immediate danger of the Ravagers to this new unknown threat. The Ravagers were deadly, no doubt about that, but this new ship could be something even more dangerous, or perhaps even an ally. But the uncertainty surrounding it was too much to ignore. Ariana's fingers flew over her console, attempting to adjust the sensors one last time. Then, with a soft click, the system finally produced a new reading, one that sent a jolt of shock through her body. The red dot representing the ship's position on the display flickered, and the vessel's energy signature became clearer. There was something familiar about it. Something human. Ariana blinked, her heart racing. No, it couldn't be. Humans had been extinct for centuries, wiped out during the Great Wars, their technology lost to the annals of history. She had grown up hearing stories of the fabled humans, of their brief rise to power, their dramatic fall, and their supposed disappearance. To think that a human ship could be here, now, in the midst of a battle with the Ravagers, was unthinkable. But as the data solidified on her console, the undeniable truth struck her. This ship had the same unmistakable energy signature as the myths. The stories she had always dismissed as fantasies, stories of humanity's great technological advances, their ability to create impossible machines, and their daring feats were real. And one of their ships was bearing down on them at incredible speed. "Impossible," Ariana whispered, her voice barely audible. Her mind couldn't process the weight of the discovery. The humans, they're real. They survived. Thor's 4 eyes flicked from Ariana's screen to her face, his expression unreadable, but his mind racing. If this ship was indeed of human origin, it raised 1,000 new questions. How had they survived? What kind of technology did they possess? And why were they here, at this exact moment? "Get me a direct connection to that ship," Thor ordered, his voice sharp with command. "I want to speak to whoever is in charge. Now." Ariana's hands moved quickly, interfacing with the ship's communication systems, but something about the connection felt wrong. The frequency wasn't compatible with their standard protocols, and the signal was erratic. She kept trying to stabilize it, but there were too many variables at play. The unknown ship was broadcasting in a way that wasn't just unfamiliar, it was alien. But eventually, after a few tense moments, a static-filled voice crackled through the speakers. "This is Lieutenant Ariana Silverwind of the Astral Dawn, Centurion Fleet. Identify yourselves," Ariana said, her voice calm but firm, though her heart was racing. She was speaking into the void, unsure of what would respond, but she had no choice. The situation was critical. The voice on the other end was distorted, but it carried a certain unmistakable clarity. It was human. "Is this the Astral Dawn?" the voice said, hesitant but curious. This is impossible." Ariana's heart skipped a beat. She leaned closer to the speaker, trying to make sense of what was happening. Was this a human? A survivor of the war? Someone from the myths? "Yes," Ariana replied, her voice steady despite the growing shock in her chest. "We are the Astral Dawn, Centurion Fleet. Who are you? What is your ship? There was a long pause, the tension in the air thick enough to cut with a blade. Then the voice responded, this time with more urgency, as if they were on the verge of understanding something far greater than they ever imagined. This is the Phoenix, the voice crackled. We are humanity. The room fell silent. Ariana felt the weight of those words settle on her shoulders, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Humanity. The extinct species. The myth. They were real, and they had somehow found their way back to the stars. What are you doing here? Ariana asked, her voice almost a whisper now, not just out of curiosity, but fear. If humans had somehow survived, how had they done it? And why were they now here, so close to the Centurion fleet, and more importantly, so close to the Ravagers? The voice on the other end paused again before responding, its tone heavy with something that Ariana couldn't quite place. Regret, perhaps, or determination. We've been rebuilding for centuries, but we've been hunting for the truth. We didn't know what happened to our people, until we found you. And now, we need your help. Ariana blinked, her mind reeling. The story she had been told all her life, the myths of humanity's fall and disappearance, were being shattered right before her eyes. They were alive, and not only that, they needed help. She glanced at Kel Thor, whose 4 eyes were wide with surprise and contemplation. This was not just an encounter with an unknown alien race. It was humanity, the long-lost species, now appearing as if from nowhere. The galaxy was about to change in ways neither Ariana nor her people could predict. And the questions that now loomed over her, the answers to which could decide the fate of the entire galaxy, would take them into uncharted territory. The Phoenix rising. The air in the Astral Dawn's command bridge grew heavy with an unspoken tension. Lieutenant Ariana Silverwind's mind whirled as the communication link to the human ship, the Phoenix, continued to crackle with static. She had just learned that humanity, the very species she had believed to be nothing more than myth, was alive, and they were here, in the same galaxy, sharing the same space. The shock of it left her breathless. Beside her, High Commander Kel Thor stood with his hands clasped tightly behind his back. His multiple eyes flicked between Ariana's console and the view screen, where the empty expanse of space stretched before them. The cold, infinite void felt less empty now somehow. The human ship was out there somewhere. They were out there, but there was still so much to understand. Why were they here? How had they survived the centuries of silence? And most importantly, why now? Ariana turned to face her commanding officer, her golden eyes wide with uncertainty. Sir, humanity, they're real. They've been hiding in the shadows, building something. And now, they need our help. Kel Thor's 4 eyes narrowed, his exoskeleton vibrating with a mixture of curiosity and cautious apprehension. I know. But what does that mean for us? Why contact us? Why now? Ariana paused, considering the implications of their conversation. The voice on the line. They said they were hunting for the truth, looking for answers about their people. But why would they need the Centurion's help? They should be capable of handling things themselves. Right. Before Kel could respond, a new wave of static filled the air, followed by a sharp beep as the communication feed flickered. Ariana quickly adjusted the controls, her fingers steady despite the growing weight of the situation. The human voice on the other end returned, clearer this time, though still faint. This is Captain Lyra Holden of the Phoenix. The voice came through, strong but tinged with what Ariana could only interpret as exhaustion. Lieutenant Silverwind, High Commander Thor. I know you have many questions. I'm sure you have 1,000 more now that you've learned we're still here. Ariana swallowed hard. She could feel the gravity of the situation, the weight of history pressing on her. She wasn't just talking to an alien species anymore. She was talking to the last remnants of humanity, the race that had once ruled the stars, then vanished into nothingness. We've been listening to your transmissions for years, Captain Holden continued, her voice steady but tinged with an unmistakable urgency. We've been trying to track down anything we could find, any clue that could lead us to the truth about what happened. Our species was decimated, lost to a war we couldn't survive. But we've rebuilt, and now we need to understand who's left and why. Ariana's mind reeled. She had learned of humanity's fall through the history files, an ancient war that devastated their civilizations, leaving them scattered, their colonies abandoned, and their technologies lost. For centuries, they had been thought to be gone entirely, their legacy reduced to nothing but whispers, legends. And now, the Phoenix, a human vessel, was standing at the edge of their galaxy, reaching out to the Centurions for help. "We have the technology to survive," Captain Holden's voice softened as she continued. "We've rebuilt our ships, our cities, our people. But there's still something we don't understand. Something hidden, and we believe that it's tied to the Ravagers. We can counter them before. And their presence in the sector isn't just coincidence." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. The Ravagers, the merciless raiders that had been pursuing the Astral Dawn, were not simply marauding space pirates. They were tied to humanity's mysterious past. This connection sent a chill down Ariana's spine. Was it possible that the Ravagers had been involved in humanity's fall? Had they been the ones who destroyed the human civilizations? Or were they just another part of a larger puzzle? "What do you mean by tied to the Ravagers?" Ariana asked, her voice barely above a whisper. She didn't know if she was ready for the answer, but she had to ask. "There's something in the technology they possess. The Ravagers are not just invaders." Captain Holden's voice grew darker, filled with the weight of shared history. "We believe they are using ancient, forbidden technology that may have originated from humanity's earliest days, technology that was lost, hidden away after the war. And it's dangerous, far more dangerous than you can imagine." Ariana's breath caught in her throat. The Ravagers, dangerous enough on their own, were now being linked to humanity's mysterious past. This revelation changed everything. She glanced at Kel Thor, who was now staring at the view screen with an intensity that matched her own. The Astral Dawn was being pursued, not just by random enemies, but by enemies who had something deeply connected to the galaxy's forgotten history. "We've intercepted their transmissions," Captain Holden continued, "and we believe the Ravagers are actively searching for this ancient technology. They've been scavenging and raiding systems, trying to unlock its secrets. But we can't let them have it. It could destroy everything." Ariana's mind raced as she processed this new information. The Ravagers had been hunting for something that could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. And now, humanity, who had been nothing but a myth to her, was not just a survivor but a key player in a much larger game. They had knowledge, technology, and most importantly, the will to survive. If the Ravagers discovered what they were after, the entire galaxy could be thrown into chaos. Ariana turned back to her console, her hands shaking slightly as she adjusted the communication feed. "What can we do to help?" she asked, her voice resolute despite the overwhelming uncertainty swirling around her. Captain Holden's voice was steady, but there was a flicker of something. Fear, perhaps, beneath her words. "We need you to assist us in locating this technology before the Ravagers do. We need to understand its origins, and we need to stop them before they can harness its power. The galaxy's future depends on it." Ariana looked at Kel Thor once more, the weight of the decision settling over them both. They could no longer simply run from the Ravagers. This was a fight that would determine not only the fate of the Astral Dawn, but the future of the galaxy itself. If the Ravagers succeeded in unlocking the ancient technology, there would be no stopping them. Kel Thor stood tall, his multiple eyes narrowing in thought. Then, after a long moment of silence, he spoke. "Prepare the ship, Lieutenant. We are going to help humanity find this technology, whatever it is, and we are going to stop the Ravagers from taking it." Ariana nodded, her resolve solidifying. She wasn't sure what this journey would bring, but one thing was certain. The galaxy was on the brink of a new era, and humanity, thought to be lost forever, was about to become its key player. As the astral dawn shifted course, heading toward the unknown, Ariana's mind raced with the endless possibilities that lay ahead. Humanity was no longer a myth, and they were not just survivors. They were a force that could change the entire balance of power in the galaxy. The journey ahead would be one of discovery, danger, and perhaps redemption. But first, they had to find the truth. And truth, as Ariana knew, was often the most dangerous thing of all.